It is now my great pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Dr. Ted Mitchell. Ted is president of the American Council on Education, which, like USC Rossier, is celebrating its centennial year. In this role and in his prior position as Undersecretary of Education during the Obama administration, he has used the power of national platforms to be a leading voice for college access and completion. Ted also has local roots, having served as president of Occidental College and dean of the Graduate School of Education and Information Studies at that university across town, UCLA. Your commencement program summarizes those and many other positions of leadership in education and in the public and private sector. Proof of Ted's conviction that true impact must come locally and nationally, as well as inside and outside the academy. I am honored to have him with us today. Please help me welcome Ted Mitchell.
Thank you, Dean Gallagher, and thanks to the parents who are here, the graduates who are here, members of the Board of Counselors, members of the faculty, members of the staff. This is a homecoming for me, as Karen suggested, and as I walked with the faculty, I realized how many of them have helped me learn most of what I know about education and helped mentor me as I've lost job after job over the last 30 years. Could we have one more round of applause for Sarah, please? I'm going to be a college president again just so I can hire her.
Put it in writing.
Karen, it's a special treat to be here with you today. From the beginning of your tenure as dean, you've been one of the most effective and innovative leaders in the country. Your national leadership has been central to developing new norms of connecting scholarship to practice and to challenging ed schools across the country to improve their work and their focus on equity. USC is very, very lucky to have you. Today we're here to celebrate these extraordinary graduates and their accomplishments and their incredibly promising future. But before we do, I'd like to say one more round of thanks. I'd like to recognize everyone who's here because they're part of that network of support that allowed you to be where you are today. So if you're a parent or a grandparent of a graduate, a child, a sibling, a teacher, a mentor, an aunt, an uncle, if you're able, please stand. And graduates, please join me in thanking those who helped you get here. As Karen mentioned, ACE celebrates its 100th year, and I can't imagine a better way to ride along than to celebrate USC's 100-year commitment to education than by celebrating today with you, so thank you. So I have a good guess that you chose Rossier because you give a damn about what kinds of chances kids have in life. You chose Rossier because you believe that schools are our society's most important ladder to lives of purpose, promise, and prosperity for individuals and for society, and because you believe that we need to fix some of those rungs on a pretty shaky ladder. I think you chose to be here today because you believe in what's possible for kids when they go to a good school, have a good teacher, a good support system, because you've seen it, or maybe lived it, or maybe already made it happen. Education has always been about aspiration, about dreams and helping them come true, about individual aspirations that our students have, about our aspirations for those students, our aspirations for communities, and increasingly our aspiration for our nation. Education has always sat at the intersection of all of the questions that matter: opportunity, justice, what kind of country we mean to be, and what kind of country we really are. Today, as never before, access to quality schooling decides who has opportunity and who doesn't. Today, as never before, access to quality schooling determines the character of our democracy. As our founders understood, the ultimate safety of that democracy rests on an educated populace. It's a sad paradox that we know so much today about how to offer the kind of education that opens the doors to opportunity, and yet access to that opportunity seems increasingly in doubt. For some, the barriers to opportunity are clear, they are brutal, and they are cruel. Children who know no country other than this one wait in fear as we sit here now, as the courts digest Washington's trifling with their families and their futures. It's unacceptable. Bigots feel newly empowered to tell our children that they are unwelcome in our schools because of their race, their religion, their gender, their abilities, or their sexual orientation. That's unacceptable. We've taught a generation of children how to take cover from an active shooter and left it to our kids to lead us out of the gun morass. That is unacceptable. In a time of astonishing wealth, teachers are picketing because they think public servants should be able to afford to feed their families and pay rent. That is unacceptable. And the thing that gets called a scandal is when a mom borrows a cousin's electric bill and enrolls her kid in a better school across town. That is unacceptable. But against that, we also need to own the fact that our profession has some issues that contribute to the problems that we face as a nation. In fact, we seem to stumble on the very word profession. Professionals sit at the policy table. They're trusted experts in their field. They hold leadership roles while also practicing their craft, and they're paid well. Yet too many teachers have to take a second job to pay bills. And at best, we force great teachers to choose between teaching kids and exercising leadership in their building, in their district, or in the field. It's one of our missteps that you, who are already emerging leaders, will help this country correct. Another thing we ought to be able to do better is diversifying our teacher workforce. We know for a fact that our children of color learn more when they have teachers and school leaders who look like them and share their experiences in a society still structured in too many ways by race. Today, the majority of kids in our public schools are non-white. We are inventing a multicultural, multi-race nation right here in Southern California. And yet, as a nation, I'll use the technical term, we suck at recruiting teachers of color. Is it possible? Is it possible to recruit more teachers of color, to retain them in the profession, and to advance them to leadership positions? Of course it's possible. Anyone looking at this graduating class knows the answer. And thanks to you, we'll continue to do better and better. And thanks to you, countless students will have a better chance. Let me tell you what gives me hope. It's people like Tony Richardson. Tony, will you stand? Tony found her mission counseling her fellow seniors on their college applications at King Drew Medical Magnet. While studying here, she served as an academic success coach at Pasadena City College and trains student leaders here at USC. She plans to be a college dean. Hurry! And it's people like Carlos Galan. Carlos, could you stand? In high school, Carlos was living in a 2-bedroom apartment in Echo Park with 14 people. Like all his friends, he had no plans to attend college until Bill Tierney, who was volunteering at the school, called him into the office for a chat. Carlos applied to a dozen colleges and was accepted to all of them. He succeeded in college. He was determined to help others do the same. Through college and while earning his master's in ed counseling here, he's tutored and mentored students to help them go to college. Tony and Carlos have given generously of themselves to help others do what they did, find opportunity through education. They are extraordinary, and yet they are typical of this class and your commitments. More than 3/4 of the MAT students here work in high-need schools. Nearly half of you are yourselves first-generation college students. And all of you have made a choice to take a stand for better chances for the young people who you will teach, who you will mentor, who you will serve, and who will follow you. That's what makes Rozier a light for the rest of the country. Schools have always had the power to tip the balance toward justice, but they haven't always used it. You, though, have seen America's opportunity gap and recognized it as a call to action. All of Rozier stands at an incredibly important intersection as a world-class research university that's deeply planted in the realities of K-12 schools by preparing hundreds of teachers and an amazing network of administrators. 4 in 10 kids in California attend school in a system led by a USC alum. That is very hard for a UCLA guy to say. Standing at that pivotal place between research and practice, Rozier has harnessed the power of innovation to the urgency of equity. What I mean is, you've recognized the moral imperative of the injustice of our time and decided that we needed to do things differently because it's essential to the individual opportunity of our children and because it's vital to our cohesion as a diverse civil society, which is an area that could use a little work right now. To that task, all of you at Rozier have brought a willingness to challenge outmoded systems, structures, and practices that don't serve in an age of diversity, mobility, and dynamic change. You're using research from technology and brain science to school organization and student engagement to create new insights and new tools for the hard work of ensuring quality and equity. You are the vanguard of a generation of teachers, leaders, and scholars who understand what a different and better education system can look like and are ready to act on that knowledge. To take just a few examples of the bold approaches Rozier is pioneering to give kids a better chance, the Race and Equity Center has been a vital resource for campus leaders across the country facing the rise of white supremacists. The response from Sean Harper and his colleagues has been calm, constructive advice, real talk, and a call for deeper, more proactive action. At the Puglia Center, in the effort to advance outcomes for underserved students in college, Bill Tierney and Zoe Corwin have gamified college going, creating strong outcomes for first-generation students. USC has established a charter school network, the vast majority of whose students are low-income kids of color whose parents didn't attend college. Yet, every student has been accepted to college in the school's first 2 years of existence, and 95% of those students have enrolled. You're advancing brain and learning science with huge implications for practice in our schools. There's an emerging vision of teaching and learning that's more deeply rooted in that rapidly developing science, but that knowledge has been isolated until today from practice. You at USC are poised to make these vital connections. You've used technology to extend the opportunities that would otherwise exist only on campus to a borderless world. Thousands of students have taken the online MAT course and now teach in more than 900 school systems around the country and the world. And the College Advising Corps has placed recent college grads in 47 underserved high schools around the community, with the sole purpose of ensuring that low-income, minority, and first-gen students get into college. This is an astonishing record of innovation in the service of opportunity, equity, and social justice, one that's a model for the nation. And like all excellent records, you can't rest on this one. To remain leaders, you'll have to double down on innovation. And fortunately, within this class alone, there's enough creativity, enough passion, enough genius to power a dozen Rosiers. I hope you'll let me come back and talk about it at your 200th birthday. But until then, I know that you and your work will lead us in creating just, equitable, and high-quality education opportunities. And that you and that work will in turn lead us in creating a just, equitable, and prosperous America. I know that because I know that yours is the knowledge that in a fundamentally pessimistic and fearful time can show the way. Because yours is the recognition that you can open doors of opportunity that some in their small-minded fear would slam shut. And because yours is the knowledge that you are now a light to others who can walk the path you've walked. Leave here today inspired by your friends, your family, and your teachers to let your light shine everywhere and everywhere brightly. Thank you for letting me join you today and share this occasion. Please join me in congratulating the graduates.